do 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 do. Yeah. All right, we are live on YouTube. How's everybody doing today? It's a beautiful Saturday here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and there's some people hanging out over there having a good time. So I'm gonna come around this way. Oh, this is all going to be replaced soon with brand new state-of-the-art buildings. Hope you're all having a great day. I certainly am. I'm feeling really, really good today, full of energy, full of life, full of joy and happiness, and hopefully you're feeling the same way. And if me saying this is triggering you, it means that you're just unhappy and miserable. And you just don't want to see anyone else be happy unless you're happy. So why don't you turn it around and just start being happy? And then you can share in this joyous festivity of being happy along with myself and the happy people that I associate with. Food for thought, right? So I've got a bunch of things to talk about during the first part of the show. Not related to the topic. If you're here on the replay and you just want to get to the topic, you could skip through, especially if you're hitting this down the road where the current events are not going to make any sense. But, if you're watching this on the replay the same day or the next day, this part will still make sense to you. And all the community events and current events I talk about, they affect our lives. It's all a part of life. And anything to do with life, which is everything to do with life, everything has to do with life, which is what I'm trying to say, is what I do. That's why I'm a life coach. All right? So anything and everything affects our lives. And I choose to talk about certain things that some people may think are out of my realm. But there's a dude that just got out to take pictures of the construction right in my path, so I'm going to cross the street here. But nothing is out of my realm because I am entitled to my opinions, just like you are. But when I express my opinions, I express my opinions responsibly. I express my opinions responsibly, respectfully, professionally, and maturely. So I want to start off by saying this before I discuss what I'm going to talk about here at the beginning of this show today. That as a public figure, whether you're a public figure on YouTube, the mainstream media, or another platform, as a public figure, in my opinion, you have a responsibility to do things, say things that take into consideration the best overall interest of everyone. And part of that has to do with not spreading misinformation and spreading things that are going to harm, I would say, the majority of people, but in my opinion, will harm all people, right? A lot of people nowadays that come out here on social media, and yes, I'm going to be talking about Joe Rogan here at the beginning. I'm sure many of you that, follow YouTube stuff and follow social media, know who Joe Rogan is. He's a highly controversial podcaster that was offered $100 million to, transfer a show exclusively to Spotify from YouTube. This happened, I believe, was last year. And today, somebody's coming. I'm going to wait a second. Today, I started hearing that Spotify has started to remove certain past episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience because Joe Rogan was using the N-word in those episodes. And many people are happy about this, including myself, but also other people are not happy. Hey, Lewis Fuller, good afternoon to you. How are you doing? Can you hear me clearly and see me clearly, Lewis? Let me know if everything's coming through okay, brother. How's your Saturday going in Texas? Thank you for being here, my friend. You're one of my top moderators, you and Queen Helen Casey. I'm very grateful and thankful for the both of you. Give me a second here. I'm just passing by a few people. It is a Saturday, so it's going to be busy here at the park today. So I'm going to try to take the path of least resistance so I can stay on point and not get distracted, because I do have a lot to talk about here. And then later tonight, I'm going to be going out to dinner with my lady again. So I'm going to do 3 quick laps and then shut this baby down and go home, get ready, and head out to meet my lady after she gets off work. Yes, everything sounds good and looks good. Thank you, Lewis. And everything is good here in my neck. Everything is starting to thaw out of my neck of the woods. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Lewis was telling me the other day it was snowing in Arlington, Texas. Is that unusual for you folks to get snow out there in certain parts of Texas, Lewis? Or do you typically get snow during every winter? So anyway, now the first thing I want to talk about is my thoughts about, Joe Rogan having 113 episodes so far removed from Spotify for using the N-word in those episodes. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, February is Black History Month. And, I'm all for equality. I'm all for everyone in this world having a fair shot of accomplishing whatever it is their heart desires, regardless of their age, race, sex, national origin, and nowadays even sexual orientation. People are people. They can choose to be who they want to be. And they're, in most cases, in all cases, biologically, people are born into a gender, a race, right? And that's who they are. And I think, and I feel, in my opinion, that that's what makes this world so unique and so different and so interesting. We're a diverse, group of people. And especially here in the U.S., where, this has always been known as land of the free, home of the brave, right? And, we've always, opened our gates to all different types of cultures and people, right? Lots of people have immigrated here to the U.S. for a better life. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you take the proper channels to do it, through immigration and all that stuff, right? So we've always been a very diverse country, right? And I'm all for that. I love people. I've always said this in the past, and I'll say it again. I love people for who they are deep within. I don't really like to judge people. I'm not a judgmental type of person. I'm not saying I haven't judged anyone in the past. I'd be lying to you if I said that. But I was younger and more immature, and I've really grown to learn to just try not to judge anyone. If I was going to judge anyone, it would be based on how good of a person they are. Do they have a good heart and soul or not? That's about it, right? Because that's all that really matters, right? And having a good heart and soul, or not having a good heart and soul, has nothing to do with your age, race, sex, national origin, or sexual orientation. People can choose to be a good person or a person that's not that good, right? What does that have to do with anything else, right? Now, the reason why those episodes were removed, like I said, from the Joe Rogan Experience, the back catalog of the Joe Rogan Experience on Spotify, is because he used the N-word multiple times, and obviously it's Black History Month, and people are going to take offense to that, right? People are going to take offense to that. I think this is the first year since Joe's been on Spotify where he's been on the platform during Black History Month. I don't think the transition was made until after Black History Month last year, if I remember correctly. So he's been on Spotify, I believe, for a little less than a year. So a lot of people might be saying, well, this is just a targeted attack on Joe to try to silence him. If people had an issue with Joe using the N-word, why didn't they take action in the past? Well, that may be a fair question, but what does it matter when people take action on something that, in my opinion, it's just purely wrong from the standpoint of a public figure? Now, Joe and other people that have, seen those clips, I heard there was a clip going around. There's an edited version with lots of bleeping, because if you put all that stuff on YouTube, you'll definitely get removed for hate speech, right? Okay. And I wouldn't blame YouTube for removing that type of content. Okay. There's an edited version with lots of bleeps, and then there's a non-edited version. Now, I haven't had a chance to hear the unedited version. I may go check that out later tonight. But I heard the unedited version, and it's like, wow. Joe and other people are claiming that the way that he was using the N-word was in the right context. He wasn't necessarily calling someone that word or calling them a, I'm not trying to say anything wrong here. I'm watching what I'm saying because I don't want to get removed, and I actually love everyone, including African Americans. Okay? So they're claiming that, it was used in the right context. Okay, I understand that context matters. If there's one thing I've learned about being on YouTube, it's not really about what you say, it's how you say it, right? It's the context that you say something. Are you saying something for example purposes, or are you directly attacking someone in a hateful and inappropriate way, right? That's the difference between, violating community guidelines and getting your videos removed or not, right? But furthermore, you have a group of people in this world, and I'd say that's, what amasses Joe Rogan's audience primarily. Joe Rogan has amassed one of the largest audiences ever for one person, right? His audience is about 10 million people. The average audience in the mainstream media in the past and still to this day is around 1 to 3 million people. Okay? Joe Rogan's audience is 10 million people. So, he's very popular. And what he says and does, carries a lot of weight and makes its way through all of social media and mainstream media all the time. So, do you folks not feel that Joe, as a public figure of that level, should have a certain responsibility to represent himself and say and do things that, are best for the overall aspect of everyone? I'm not saying to, sugarcoat how he feels. I'm not saying to be something that he isn't, right? be yourself. But I think a public figure has a responsibility to maybe leave certain things out that they feel would be highly controversial and offend a lot of people and, in essence, hurt a lot of people. A lot of things that Joe has done. He's talked about how he feels about COVID and his regimen. And I'm not sure if he's anti-vax or not. I think he is. And I don't think he's ever mentioned whether he's vaccinated or not. If I had to guess, I don't think he is. It's his choice, right? But just because, he doesn't want to take it, which is his choice, is right, doesn't mean that it's not right for everyone else, right? And there are people out there that are following what he's doing as gospel that would have otherwise probably, gotten the vaccine. And maybe some of these people, because they didn't get the vaccine, it might have affected them negatively in some way, shape, or form, right? I think there are certain things that a public figure, should either just not talk about at all or tread very carefully with what they say or do. Number one, because you don't want to harm people, the majority of people, that is, or all people. And number two, you don't want to get yourself removed, right? And I think part of Joe's marketing, and a lot of people market this way, involves controversy and drama. I think a lot of people nowadays know that. I'm trying to work my way around. People are setting up a party here, right in my walking path. So I'm gonna have to work my way around this. I think what Joe is doing is drama marketing and, tackling all controversial issues that he knows are going to get a rise out of people and create controversy. Like what happened today, what happened today with the removal of 113 episodes is going to create more controversy and give Joe more exposure and stir the pot up more. And this is doing, honestly, folks, is giving Joe Rogan more free marketing, right? And this is the same thing that Donald Trump does. You see, all these people that most reasonable people like myself say are just doing crazy things, right? Like Donald Trump did when he was in office, in my opinion, right? And what he did afterwards, and trying to claim voter fraud or election fraud or whatever, all that stupid stuff, right? All these things that Joe and Donald Trump and other people like them do, they all know that they're wrong. They all know. Like Donald Trump knew he lost fair and square, right? Joe Rogan knows what he's doing is crossing the line, right? But why do they continue doing it? They continue doing it because it keeps them in the spotlight. It keeps the controversy going, right? It stirs up the pot. And that's, unfortunately, I hate to say it, that's one way that people market themselves and make money, right? And they do it for as long as they can until one day somebody shuts them down, whether it's the platform or whether it's the people that chose to not re-elect Donald Trump, right? It's just really sad. It's really sad, what I've just seen certain people do nowadays just to get attention. And in the past, before the internet, these people didn't have the opportunities to do what they're doing today. See, a lot of the people that support Joe Rogan are from the alt-right. They're people from the Midwest and the South. They're Trump supporters, right? And with no disrespect intended, these are people primarily, from what I've seen in my opinion, right? Okay. These are people that are either lower middle class people or lower class people, second or third class citizens, uneducated people, people that come from poverty, people that are just, I hate to say it, like lower class, right? And these people that are, lower class, they've never had a voice until the internet came out, because the mainstream media, was not going to focus their content on these people that, in my opinion, have been angry and bitter because of the situation they put themselves in, whether it's poverty or not being educated or not amassing to something, better than they are, right? I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's just the truth, right? So these people never had a voice in the past. And now with social media, they have a voice. And it is these types of people that follow people like Joe Rogan. And people like Joe Rogan and Donald Trump know that there are these types of people out there. And a lot of these people, like I said, they're lower middle class people or lower class people. They're uneducated. I'm not saying they're trying to be horrible people, but they're just lost souls. They're people that come from poverty. They're people that are uneducated. They are people that have never had a voice, right? And so people like Donald Trump and Joe Rogan, they take advantage of these people's vulnerabilities and exploit their vulnerabilities, right? And then they get these people to buy into and believe what they're saying, and then these people will spread whatever Donald Trump and Joe Rogan are saying very quickly. Why? Because these people have the most time on their hands, and a lot of them have nothing better to do than to come on social media and just blurt this stuff out, right? Now, here's the funny thing. There are over 300 million people here in the U.S., right? Joe Rogan has 10 million followers, okay? So basically, there's 10 million people compared to how many people are in the entire U.S. That's not a lot of people, but for a following, to amass a following of 10 million, that's a pretty good reach, right? So, in my opinion, why do I feel there are a lot of people that are just unhappy about what Joe Rogan is doing and saying and want him silenced? It is because the majority doesn't agree with the way he's doing things or how he's presenting things, right? And why does it appear like, there are a lot of people, why does it appear like there are more people supporting him when in reality there isn't? It's because, like I said, to amass a following of 10 million people is pretty big, okay? But remember, there are 300 plus million people in the U.S., plus there are more people globally that follow him, right? And the majority of people, from what I've seen, disagree. They don't like Joe Rogan's methods, right? But why is there so much noise made, from the other side? Because the other side has found a way to amass a following of 10 million consistent people that are going to be big cheerleaders for people like Joe and people like Donald Trump, right? And people like myself that are on the other side, just trying to create great humanity for everyone, right? Including these alt-right people, right? Us people on the other side just don't really want to deal with this crap. We ignore it. Like we don't want to waste any time on it, right? Because we have better things to do. We want to focus on things that, are best for the overall aspect of everyone, right? I honestly feel like Joe Rogan and Donald Trump and people like that, the alt-right, these people say they're conservative, but they're alt-right. They're alternative right. They're, not real conservatives in my opinion, right? Most of these people, growing up didn't have the best upbringing, and really, in my opinion, I'm not trying to be rude, had nothing to offer this world. So now they're coming out and they're basically stirring up the pot and going against everything mainstream, even things that are good for everyone. They're going against everything mainstream just to stir up the controversy pot with these uneducated, lower class people. And like I said, I love these people too, but these people are being brainwashed, in my opinion, by Rogan and Trump into donating money and supporting and following everything that they say. So that's why, a lot of these companies are silencing these people, right? Just look at it. Donald Trump, got silenced on Twitter and Facebook, right? I mean, for Christ's sake, social media silenced the president. Have they silenced Joe Biden? No. Why? Because he's a reasonable guy. And Joe Biden has the best overall interest for all Americans, including the alt-right and including conservatives. The alt-right only cares about themselves. That's where the disconnect is at, right? So as a public figure, especially one that has that big of a following, you have a responsibility to the public to do what's right as best as possible, right? If you are getting paid $100 million a year, you're not only representing yourself, you're also representing Spotify, right? And you're also affecting other people that are on Spotify. Other musicians have started to pull their music from Spotify because of how Spotify is handling the Joe Rogan situation. Most people, most artists from the past, like, what was it, Neil Young, I think was the latest one, right? I can't remember. It was one of the Neils, right? Was saying, hey, you know what? If you're going to leave this stuff up, then I'm going to just, pull my catalog. So they pulled his catalog, right? And more musicians are starting to opt out of supporting, these platforms because of what they're allowing, right? Now, here's the thing. It's always been, here in the U.S. and pretty much in every other country, it's always been majority rules, majority wins, right? The majority say is what should be best for the overall interest of everyone, including the minority, right? Okay? So think about it this way. You've got Joe Rogan that's getting paid $100 million a year to, bring more subscribers and revenue to Spotify, right? But if that comes at the expense of losing 90% of their music catalog, that would practically put Spotify out of business if they lost that. Why has that not been taken into consideration, right? Why has that not been taken into consideration, right? So, before I move on from this, honestly, I feel it was the right thing to do for Spotify to remove those episodes. It is Black History Month, okay? This is the month where, we are celebrating our African-American brothers and sisters. I have many of them. I have lots of African-American friends, and they're amazing people, right? Now, every ethnicity has good and bad people, right? But it's not because of any certain ethnicity, people are automatically good or bad, okay? So what I'm trying to say is that this is a month to, celebrate how far African Americans have come after being mistreated so poorly in the past, right? They were mistreated. They were abused. They were slaves, right? And that was unfair, right? And I'm a Caucasian man saying this, right? Because I know if the roles were reversed and us Caucasians were the slaves and the African Americans were our slaveholders, I understand how it would make me feel. So why would I not be considerate to understand how they felt, right? So this is a very special month that I believe in. I believe in equality. I believe that everyone should have a fair chance, right? And some people might say, well, if there's a Black History Day, why isn't there a White History Day? Why? Because it's always been primarily about Caucasian people like myself, right? Why would we even need a special day, right? Because we've always had it good, right? We've always been in control of everything, right? It's not about wanting to be in control. It just, that's how it was, right? What Black History Month represents and other, months regarding different cultures, there are other cultures that have similar aspects like Black History Month. All this is trying to say is that, hey, we're all equal, we're all the same, despite the color of our skin, despite our race, national origin, and now even sexual orientation. We're all people at the end of the day, and that's what matters the most, right? So even if, you're going to put out the N-word and you say it's in the proper context, right? Think about it. As a public figure with that big of a following, do you even think you should be saying that word, period? I think Joe is much smarter than that. Even using that word in the right context, per se, right? He knows it's going to create controversy, and that's why he does it. See, Joe Rogan purposefully talks about these things, right? Joe Rogan has always been like an entertainer, right? Joe Rogan has learned how to reel in the audience, right? And it's all about drama, drama, drama. Drama, 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 right? The more drama you can create, the more people you're gonna attract. The more controversy you can create, the more people you're gonna attract, right? And even if he doesn't mean to use the N-word in any context, he does it, and he also knows that, hey, there will be scrutiny, and then he has a plan for that, like what he did today. I think he put it out on Instagram or somewhere. I was watching a video on the Quartering channel that was sharing the story where Joe Rogan apologized, right? Okay. Do I believe he's sincere? Yeah, even though I'm not a big fan of his, I believe he's being sincere. Do I believe that Joe Rogan's a racist? No, I don't think Joe Rogan's a racist, right? I think what's happening here is that Joe Rogan knows how to stir the pot up, just like Donald Trump does. These people know how to get attention and keep the attention on them. And because there's so much competition nowadays, that if they don't continuously do stuff like this, where these crazy things happen, like Spotify removed another 113 episodes. You think Spotify has a problem doing that? Spotify knows that by them removing these past episodes, it's going to show good faith to, people like myself and the African Americans, right? And it's also going to raise more controversy to get more people to tune in to watch and see what Joe Rogan's going to say on Spotify. It'll probably get them more subscriptions, right? This is a freaking game, folks. That's all this is. This is a freaking game. And it's stupid, right? And the more and more real people like me that aren't acting bring this up to the forefront, and the more and more people realize this, the more and more people will withdraw and stop supporting phony programs like these. That's just my opinion, right? Now, does everything Joe Rogan say phony? No. But quite frankly, I think Joe Rogan's more about an entertainer that will talk about anything controversial and push the boundaries because he knows that's going to get all eyes on him. And then he also has a plan, always a plan, because he expects the backlash and he has a plan for that backlash. This is all scripted, folks. This is all fake. It's all just to make more of the almighty dollar, right? And see, then you have good people like me that care about people and truly want to help and uplift people. And it's a struggle for me to get a few new subscribers per day. But people like Joe, because of what they do, they amass a big audience and make tons of money. It's almost like it's not fair. I could sit here and whine and complain about it, but I won't. I'm just going to keep moving forward and doing my thing. And eventually, well, my plan is to change this shift. Well, my plan is to change this shift into something more positive, to the point of where people like me with my positive message are going to outgrow these conspiracy theorists and you know, people that push the boundaries in this way, right? I'm trying to make the world a better place and help people become more reasonable, right? That's it. I'm almost done with my second, well, I'm about halfway done with my second lap. I've been kind of plowing through this. So that's that. Coming up later tonight again, another episode of Bedtime Stories with Eli at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. It's the final episode of this batch. I don't have anything else in the queue after tonight, and I haven't had a chance to record any other pre-recorded videos. So you may not get a whole lot of content from me after this, probably until Monday. I may take tomorrow off completely. Gonna be hanging out with my lady tonight, and then tomorrow I may go spend some time with my brother and some other friends that I haven't seen in a while. We may take a hike or a walk. My lady's working, so she's gonna be doing her thing. And it's always nice just take a break to break the monotony and rest the voice a little bit. So if you don't get any other content from me after this for, you know, a day and a half or so, that's the reason why. So that being said, let's get right to the topic here. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, the Walking with Purpose live edition, live from Red Morton Park. This is episode number 217, and the topic of today's show is a man's purpose versus a woman's purpose in this modern world. One more time, a man's purpose versus a woman's purpose in this modern world. So is there really a difference between a man's purpose and a woman's purpose in this modern world? Well, since women have been liberated, they now have, you know, equal rights and, you know, equal pay for equal work. They have civil rights, the right to bear arms, the right to vote, freedom of speech, all that stuff, right? Women have all the rights that only once men had, right? So from that standpoint, men and women, legally, on paper, we have the same rights. And, you know, in essence, our purpose could be considered the same. But there's something that a lot of people never take into consideration when it comes to the biological differences between men and women. A lot of people don't talk about this. Oh man. I think there are some people that are singing over there. I'm gonna try to. I think there's like a live band over there or something like that. Uh, there are people that are singing over there. It's interesting, like a choir or something. Oh, it's a birthday. It's all good. I doubt this is in YouTube's content ID system. Eli, you've got a copyright claim for people singing at the park. So, this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand when it comes to the difference between a man's purpose and a woman's purpose. Despite how we're living in this modern world of women being liberated and independent. Like I've always said, it's great that women can do whatever a man can do, or whatever a man once could only do, right? Nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with anyone, regardless of who you are or where you come from, does. As long as it makes you happy, right? But the real question that we should be asking, women especially, is are they happy doing what they're doing? And whether they say they're happy or not, even if they say they're happy, what do their actions dictate, right? Because I've learned one thing when it comes to women, okay? After 48 damn years, I've learned one thing when it comes pretty much to anyone, including men too, and women, but more so with women. I've learned that you more so look at a woman's actions, not what she says. I'm not saying don't listen to what she says. Sure, you're going to listen to what she says and then compare it to what she does, how she reacts, right? And there are many women out there nowadays that are working jobs, corporate jobs, in executive positions, which is fine, and they're making six figures, they're making great money, and they're buying their own homes and their own cars. I've said this before many times. I'll say it again, right? But are they really happy doing what they're doing, right? Are they really happy, at their job? Are they happy that they're making good money and they have their own home and car? Sure, I'm sure they're happy that they're accomplished, right? But at what expense are those accomplishments coming at? Is it the expense of their sanity and their femininity? Because, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, the majority of jobs, I gotta wait for people to pass on by. Because even my backup plan has people having a party in the kindness corner. This is the kindness corner. There's no sign that says it, but that map that used to be up when they were finishing building this area, this is like where the kindness corner is at. So I'm going to just have to pass on by. Give me a second here. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible here. Like there are people right in the sidewalk, all just staggering around. It's all good. We'll work our way around it. I'm gonna, during my third lap, which I'm about to start, I'm gonna share a story regarding my lady again, because I gotta tell you, my lady is experiencing this. And most women are experiencing this. I use her for example purposes because it just goes to show that, hey, a lot of women are going through this. The majority of them are going through this. but they have no clue really what's going on, including my lady. And when she hears me share my experiences with other women that I've worked with or dated in the past that were in a similar situation, then she starts to realize, oh man, I get where you're coming from, Eli. I understand why I'm not happy at my job, right? Just wait a second here. Lots of people coming. So the truth of the matter is this. Women are biologically different than men. And when they go to work and they have to exude more masculine energy, an example, firing somebody, disciplining somebody, right? That is completely out of a woman's natural essence. A woman's natural and biological essence is to be sweet, loving, kind, nurturing. And if they're going to discipline anyone, it would be their own kids if they're misbehaving, right? Back in the days of traditionalism, the man would go to work, bust butt, make money, be the provider, and the woman would take care of everything at home, right? And I'm not trying to say that, women didn't do a lot of work at home. They did. Women did a lot of work at home, right? And women were good at that, right? And women enjoyed doing that, right? But nowadays, if you try to explain this and talk about this with most women, they think you're trying to belittle them. They excuse me. They think you're trying to belittle them and try to make them feel like they're not as good as you are as a man, which is not the truth. We're biologically different. The truth of the matter is, biologically, men and women were designed to be good at different things. And I'm not saying that women cannot be good at the same things that once only men did before women got rights. There are many women that are more than capable of doing those things, but at what expense does it cost them? Right? There are more miserable women in the modern world than ever before because of what I'm talking about right here, right? Right? So you're a woman, you go to work, you're an executive vice president, or, you're a, department manager or something, or store manager, right? And you're a lady, and you have to go to work and fire 2 people, right? And discipline them and fire them, right? And as part of your natural essence of being sweet, kind, and nurturing and, not wanting to hurt a fly, in essence, you firing those people for not doing their job is going to make you feel like you're hurting somebody. No matter how strong of a woman you are or try to be, your biological essence is going to feel bad for having to fire those people, even if it's warranted, right? It is not a part of your natural essence. Again, I'm not saying women are not capable of doing it. They are. But they don't enjoy doing it. It doesn't make them happy. It doesn't make them happy. Again, I'm not trying to take anything away from women. You want to do things, that require more masculine energy? Do it. But see, at the end of the day, how happy does it make you feel, right? And like my lady told me last week, when we spent a couple days together, right? She goes, it's really hard for me to go to work and then come home and turn off that energy I give off at work. And and she was talking about masculine energy, right? She said it herself. And when she said it, my level of respect for her went way the hell up, right? Way the hell up, right? Because she was being honest. And it wasn't me influencing her or anything. It's how she was feeling. The truth of the matter is, excuse me, the truth of the matter is, the jobs that women have Today, most of the jobs that women have today, they're not happy at. They're doing it because that's how they're paying their bills and making their money. And that's what many of them were forced into, in my opinion. Number one, either by the feminist agenda or their family or mainstream media or whatever, right? Nowadays, we're saying to ladies, go to college and get a college degree and be more career focused initially than family focused, and then focus on family later. But like I've said in the past, what happens? By the time these women go through college, get settled in their job, and they're feeling financially stable and all that, they're in their early to mid 30s, and then their biological clock is ticking, right? And then they're having a hard time trying to find a good guy that wants to be with them, because guys their age, 30, 35, are going on dates and marrying women that are 20 to 25. And these women are not realizing this in the modern world. In the past, they would have realized it because that's how it used to be. But in this modern world, they're being pushed to go a different route. And initially, it may sound good to them. But once they get there and start doing their job, and their job requires them to exude more masculine energy than feminine energy, and then at the same time, it affects their relationships because, like my lady said, it's hard for me to turn it off when I come home. And there are times where she tries to exude that masculine energy on me, and I don't put up with that. Now, I'm not rude to her. I just look at her and say, you know what, baby, you're being ridiculous, right? And the moment, all I have to do is say you're being ridiculous, and then she just comes down from that masculine high that she had to exude at work, which was out of her natural essence, right? I wanted to do this topic today because a man's purpose, I'll just say that real quick because it's simple. A man's purpose is what defines him. It's his mission in life, what he enjoys doing for a living. And if there are roadblocks, how to overcome those roadblocks or obstacles. Okay? Men are fighters. And I'm not saying that in a fist fight way. I'm saying men are fighters deep within. We keep pushing ourselves forward until we become the best version of ourselves we can be. And find something we enjoy doing that will also, pay for our livelihood. And, if we find a special woman to share our lives with, to pay for that livelihood too, right? That's masculine energy right there, totally, right? So in essence, when we're talking about women having a purpose, you can look at it in the modern world in a similar way, because the majority of women out there are exuding more masculine energy than feminine energy because their jobs require them to do so, right? Okay? But my lady called me today. Well, she texted me, and she wanted to talk briefly on her break at work. So I called her, and we talked for about 20 minutes or so. And she was telling me that I think I may be changing jobs soon. I'm like, wow. She goes, I want to do something that more fulfills my purpose. Give me a second here. She goes, my lady, and I'm not going to get too far into this, but my lady used to be a nurse in her younger days. And some things happened. I'm not going to get into it. And she's not a nurse anymore. Some things that were completely out of her control happened. But she really, really loved being a nurse. And she misses being a nurse. She loves caring for people and helping people work through their illness or other medical issues. She loves doing that. And she was telling me that she got an email from a friend or something that there's like a job available for like in-home care that even pays her a little bit more than she's making right now, near where she lives. And she can make her own schedule, and she has weekends off. And I was like, holy shit, babe, that's great. Because that would totally more so align with our schedules, and it would stress you out a lot less. And plus, you would actually enjoy what you're doing because that actually is your purpose, right? You see, in my opinion, I feel that I'm not saying that women aren't suited for any job that a man can do. Women can do whatever they want. God, there are a lot of people left and right. I'm trying to walk by and avoid as many people as possible. Okay, here we go. See, I try to be respectful. Women can do whatever they want to do, right? But I honestly believe that women would prefer to do things. Go ahead. You want to know what really, really, really gets to me? Is that, people see me, I'm just walking, and then they walk right at me in my way, and I have to move to let them go. Like that dude he was on his smartphone. I'm sitting here broadcasting live with a portable television unit pretty much, and I am aware of my surroundings at the same time and being respectful. We live in a new world nowadays, you know what I mean? So in my personal opinion, I honestly feel that women would be happier doing things, doing jobs that more so coincide with their natural essence and biological essence of being feminine. The job of a nurse has always been more known to be the job of a woman. Now, does that mean there aren't any male nurses? No, I've talked about this before, I'll say it again. There are some male nurses, nowhere nearly as many as female nurses. I have a couple of friends. One used to be a nurse, one is still a nurse, and they're male. They're guys. I can't see who that is. Let me get into the shade here. Somebody just chatted in the chat. It's so sunny today that it's hard to see the screen. Information Man Show, peace and respect. How you doing, brother? Dude, I still need to connect you behind the scenes in the group on Facebook. I forgot, bro. I gotta take care of that later tonight or tomorrow. I've been spending some time with my lady lately, and I've been focusing on helping her with some other things. So I've just been all over the place. So I will get to that, bro. But hopefully your day is going well. Peace and respect to you as well, brother. Right? But like I was saying, doing well today. It's nice today. I understand. Yeah, it's nice in Sacramento too, huh? It's a nice sunny day, huh, brother? Glad to hear that, man. At some point, bro, when I come out to the Sacramento area, maybe we can hang out, take you to dinner or something. Maybe my lady and I will come up there, and we'll take you to dinner if you promise not to dox her. You can dox me all you want, brother. I dox myself. Room addition in progress. Look at this now. These companies that are adding rooms are advertising on site. I bet they offered the person a little bit of a discount if they allowed advertising their business in front of their house. I've never seen anything like that. Everybody's advertising any way possible nowadays, man. I've seen it all Information Man show, you know what I'm saying, bro? So I've had some friends that are either still a male nurse or they used to be a male nurse. Nothing wrong with that, right? But it's not typically seen as a job that men would do. It's more been looked at as a job that women would do. Why? Because the job of a nurse is to calm the patient down, is to make them feel comfortable and safe and relaxed. So by the time the doctor gets in there, the doctor can do their job, right? And what's the difference between men and women? I'm not saying that us guys can't be relaxed and calm and stuff, right? But men have more so been known for our rough around the edge masculinity, right? Don't get me wrong, guys that are real good guys can control their emotions and be nice and sweet too. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But seriously, if you're a guy, that fears the hospital and something happened and you needed to get some surgery or something done, right? And they put you into the room, right? Would you rather have a male nurse or a female nurse come and try to relax you and make you feel better, right? When you have those cute, attractive nurses with the sweet voice, right? Coming in and checking your vitals and hydrating you and just calming you down, right? Do you think it'd be more effective for a woman to do that or for a man to do that? I'm not saying that men aren't capable of being good and doing the same thing, but I mean, think about it, right? I for damn sure would rather have a woman be my nurse than a man. I'm having a really difficult time navigating around people today. Because people are just standing in the middle of the sidewalk everywhere. It's a nice day, so people are going to come out to the park. I agree with you, but it seems like nowadays masculinity is starting to disappear. Right, any kind of way they can advertise. Yeah, you were talking about that sign back at that house. And Information Man show would rather have a woman, a female nurse, than a male nurse. I think even women that were in that situation would prefer to have a female nurse than the male nurse, right? Ladies, I'm on your side regarding this, right? What are the guys going to say? Hey, Eli, you're discriminating against men. No, I'm not. I'm just being honest. It's the truth. Both men and women are more than capable of doing any job they want, that they put their mind to, right? But both men and women were biologically designed to be better at certain things than our counterparts, right? There are things that women are better at than men, and there are things that men are better at than women, right? It's not a competition. It's not about saying, okay, well, you're not being fair to women nowadays, right? No. It's about knowing who we are. It's about who we were biologically made to be, and then working together as man and woman to make each other better, right? Instead of men and women fighting over which gender is better, working together makes us both better. Food for thought, right? Information Man show? Yeah, masculinity's gone down the toilet because of all this stuff I've been talking about, right? So my lady has started to realize that her job is really burning her out. She's being toggled around like a wet rag. Right? She's being thrown around like a wet rag. She's called in her days off all the time. She's an assistant store manager for a retail store, right? And her store manager calls her in almost every day off, right? And she hasn't learned how to say no. That's part of the problem. But regardless, she almost feels like she has no choice. And she's even told me, her boss told her, well, this is what you signed up for when you became an assistant manager. Oh, sir, so you're basically saying that you signed your life away with no quality of life, right? Right? And overworking someone above and beyond 40 hours, which you don't have the right to do legally. It's their choice. You can ask them if they want to work longer hours. If you schedule somebody to work their shifts a week in advance or 2 weeks in advance, then that's what they're required to show up for. And anything above and beyond that, you can't force them to work it, right? But anyway, there's just a lot of I gotta get moving here. Let me move here because there's a lot of loud music playing in the background here, and I don't want it to be caught by the YouTube system here. I'm going to just keep talking here. I mean, that is some really, really loud and thundering bass, right? So anyway, give me a second here, folks, until I get out of this musical fiesta danger zone. Oh, boy, man. All right, folks. I'm on my last half lap. Get your questions, comments, and concerns in the chat here. I'm going to be going off the air soon. So regarding what's been going on, my lady, she's been getting burnt out, right? To the point of where she's been passing out. And she's perfectly healthy. She's perfectly healthy. This is what's happening to women nowadays, and I'm sure it's happening to more people than just my lady. My lady has passed out on 3 different occasions in the last almost 5 months we've been together. Why? We're figuring that she's exhausted from being overworked, right? Now, on top of her being overworked, she does try to spend a lot of time with friends and family and does a lot of driving to see these people, furthering her exhaustion. But if she had a normal work schedule and not overworked and abused, by her company, and especially her boss, calling her in on her days off all the time so she can't rest, it further adds to her being worn out. Because if she had a normal schedule, like let's say she worked 5 days a week, had 2 days off, and her schedule didn't change. By the way, a lot of times her schedule changes on a daily basis. I used to have to live this working retail management in my younger days. It is the absolute worst schedule you can have with no quality of life, being a retail assistant store manager especially. Because your store manager takes advantage of you and your district manager. And you got to pick up the slack for everyone. And nowadays, retail companies are running things so tight with payroll, right, that if one person calls out, then they're going to call you, the assistant manager, on your day off to come in and fill in the void. And they're going to just try to sweet talk you. And they're going to tell you like they used to tell me. I had a boss that called me in on my day off one day when I used to work for Sears after I'd worked like 70 hours that week. And that was my only day off. He said, "Can you come in just for 4 hours? We're getting a walk, and I just want you to be here and meet the VPs and all that, right?" And I'm like, okay. I went in. I ended up staying there for 8 hours. I didn't have any days off. Now, it was salaried back then, and then they ended up changing the laws to where all assistant managers are now hourly, right? So we can get paid overtime in that situation, which back then being salaried, we didn't. But not my phone or anything like that. It's the tower. When it gets overloaded, because you got a lot of people having parties, they're all on their phones, they're all using data and all that, right? And sometimes it just cuts you off just to relieve the bandwidth capacity, and then you have to reset and go back on, right? Anyway, so yeah, like I was saying a second ago, I was burned out. I didn't have a day off. I was tired and exhausted. And the following week, I actually had one day off, right? It's not a good quality of life, even for a guy, even for us guys that are supposed to be tough and handle this, right? We can handle it and we can do it for a while, but it even takes a toll on us. So now, in essence, women are having to do the same thing. My lady is doing the same thing I was doing, right? Now, I'm 5'10", about 175 pounds, and I'm a guy, and I was built biologically differently to be able to handle these things, right? And I'm not saying that women are not able to handle these things, but think about it. My lady is like 5'6", 110 pounds. She's a tiny little thing. She's got a big voice and a good punch, but she's a tiny little thing, right? And with no disrespect, she's built biologically different than me. To the point of where she's passing out when she hangs out with me or some other friends because of the amount of stress overload and how demanding her work has been, right? For her, right? That's affecting her personal life. It's affecting her health and her happiness. And it has nothing to do with her not being happy within herself. It has to do with the work she's doing. I think a woman's purpose nowadays is a little bit different than it was in the days of traditionalism. I think women should work, unless you're totally old school traditional and, your woman wants to be a housewife and you want to be the provider, but even then your woman will get bored because women nowadays want to have a purpose, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with a woman wanting to have a purpose. But I think women need to focus on doing jobs that fulfill their purpose in ways that were biologically meant to be for them within their natural essence. Women are not happy exuding masculine energy. They are not happy firing people. They are not happy doing things that go against their normal feminine nature of being sweet, kind, caring, loving, and submissive. Even women that flex their muscles and say, I don't have to be submissive, that's masculine energy. Why are those women behaving that way? Because that's what their work has indoctrinated them and required them to do, right? Okay? Nothing wrong with women working and making their own money and being independent. Right? But do you really enjoy what you're doing? Do you really enjoy the type of work you're doing? Or are you doing it because that's the job that'll pay you the most amount of money that you need to survive? Right? And at what expense is the type of work you're doing? What expense is it going to come at? Because even in the modern world, women today still want to be loved and cared for. They still want to be appreciated by men. And quite frankly, I still feel that women want to be taken care of by men to a certain extent, even the ones that work, right? But it's really hard for them to turn off the masculine energy when they come home to a guy or when they go on dates with a guy. So that's why a lot of these women are single and unhappy. And it all stems from the type of job they have. So ladies, my advice to you is this, then I got to run. I got to get ready to go and meet my lady. Ladies, do jobs that you enjoy. Do jobs that make you feel like a natural woman. And if you enjoy doing, certain jobs that require you to exude more masculine energy, that's fine. I have no problem. Like most women I've dated are tomboys. Like I believe my lady I'm with is a tomboy, and most of the exes I've had in the past are tomboys, right? So that's okay. There's nothing wrong with a woman being a little bit of a tomboy. Like a few exes ago, my lady, could use a nail and a hammer and do things around the house, right? And she blew me away with what she could do. But, she would help me do things like that. And once we were done with that, she would turn off the masculinity and be all sweet and loving and nurturing and submissive and being herself, being a natural feminine woman, right? See, if you're a woman that can turn it on and off like a switch, that's great. But the majority of women nowadays, their problem is they have difficulty turning off the masculine energy that stems from the type of work they're doing. And until you ladies can figure that out and balance that out better, either by getting a job that's, that more so resonates with your feminine essence and nature, or, doing a job that requires you to exude more masculine energy, but knowing how to turn on and off the masculine energy like a switch. So when you leave work, turn that off. And then when you go home to your boyfriend or your husband, or you hang out with your boyfriend or husband, you're going to be the sweet, loving, kind, easygoing, more submissive nature type of female than being more masculine. Because honestly, there's not a man on the planet, not a decent man on the planet, that wants to date a woman that behaves more like he does. I'm a man. I don't want to date a woman or be with a woman that behaves like me. Why would I want that? Seriously. And that's where I'm going to wrap up this video here today, this stream today, at 1 hour and 18 minutes. Folks, I got to run. Got to hop in the shower quick and then head out to meet my lady for dinner. With that being said, again, I may not have, well, there will be one piece of content released tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, another bedtime stories with Eli. And then you may not get another piece of content from me until Monday. Possibly tomorrow, but more than likely Monday. I may have some other things planned with some friends and my brother, maybe a hike or a walk with them. But I'll keep you folks posted. Keep it locked here. Please like, share, subscribe, bang the bell, select notifications, and I'll catch you next time. Take care, and as always, be good to each other.